Mother-in-laws of Reddit, in the interest of fairness, what are your crazy daughter-in-law stories? She's so crazy she married my son. When my husband and I were getting married, I asked my mother-in-law, we have a great relationship, if she in any way felt like I was taking her son away. She said, no, he's your problem now. 25 years ago, my mother-in-law told me something very similar about her son. I got him grown, from here on out, he's yours. I adore my in-laws. They're more my parents than my bios are. We have lots of silly inside jokes about me giving him back and them reminding me I bought him, and they have a strict no-return policy, lol. Or that it's been 25 years, so the warranty has expired. My father-in-law even has a silly fake will that's got my name on it in Sharpie, but my husband's is on a strip that's removable / on Velcro. He threatens to take hubby out of the will when I'm joke bitching about something he's done / said. My father-in-law passed away this summer, which prompted the family to take out the will for my mother-in-law to get it redone. Well, it's been the same for 30 years, and due to the large age gap between siblings, his oldest sister had a 6-year-old when my husband was born. Well, my mother-in-law looked at the sister and said, it says you should get custody of your brother. Do you want me to change that or leave that part in? I was informed that he is now my problem too. I have offered to return my husband to his parents, but they don't want him back. Pensive face. Best comment in this thread. And the only one from a mother-in-law. I was the crafty daughter-in-law. We married young and she would try to help a little too much. I would feel suffocated with her and felt like she was judging everything I did. 4 to 5 years later, I realized she was just trying what she thought was best for us, and we now have the best relationship. Wow, that's pretty big of you to admit. Good for you. I'm glad to hear it ending up for the best. Been there too. It happens. Good to read things worked out. Good on you for coming to terms, but mostly I just wanted to say that I love your username. May I say I love your username too, user Sir Nugglesworth? Reddit link. When I first met her, she was a tweaker. She knew I knew and she hated me. Now she stays home and knits and crafts, and I have not seen my grandson in 3 years. She still hates me. To be frank, amphetamines are very helpful for repetitive crafting, like knitting. Yeah, people don't realize how many tweakers are into crafting. It sounds crazy, but it's true lol. Little known fact, over 92% of all Etsy stores are powered by meth. Meth tea. She says she doesn't do that anymore. I hate to be stupid, but what is a tweaker? A person who uses methamphetamine. Okay, so, I looked it up and read they tweak / tinker with things and carried on with reading. It was confusing, like why would you want to hide the fact that you poke around with things for fun and get mad at mom for knowing? Oh. This makes much more sense, laughing my butt off. You have to look at the Urban Dictionary version. Drug addict, but mainly meth when talking about tweakers. Interestingly enough, arts and crafts is the pastime of the Mexican American. Uppers of all sorts stimulate the mind, and unfortunately the end result is sometimes both creative and terrifying. If there was a daytime TV show affectionately named Crafts on Crack, I'm not saying I would watch it, but I'm not saying I wouldn't. Also, Tinker with a Tweaker sounds like a hell of a reality show. Mexican American laughing out loud, I'm dying. I'm sorry. This is so sad. My sister experienced it when she lived with my sister-in-law and brother. Sister-in-law had a very particular way of doing things. So she told my sister to not do anything because sister-in-law had an order. Dishes? Nope, leave it in the sink. Cleaning? Nope, you're not doing it my way. So as my sister-in-law said, my sister didn't touch any cleaning. Then sister-in-law got upset my sister didn't clean. Made a PowerPoint presentation on everything my sister did wrong. These presentations would last a minimum of 20 minutes and up to an hour or so. My sister was confused because when she did help, she was told she was doing it wrong, and sister-in-law told her to stop. Now that she stopped, sister-in-law is mad my sister isn't helping. My sister isn't dirty by any means, she knows how to clean up. It just wasn't being done the way sister-in-law wanted it to be done. My sister had to sit through multiple presentations when she lived with them. Lol, I was sympathizing because I too am particular about certain things. But then you said PowerPoint presentations, and that's a big nope for me. Honestly, I would not be able to keep a straight face if my in-laws made a PowerPoint about me. I mean, that's both impressive and insulting all in one. That's a sustained level of fixated crazy that just kind of makes you go, but why to this extent? Sometimes I'm just like, I am never leaving my husband because we both agree that the same kind of batcrap crazy crap is batcrap crazy, and I'm not trying to deal with finding someone else who agrees when batcrap crazy crap is batcrap crazy. Like a literal PowerPoint? If yes, any chance we can see the crazy? Purely for academic reasons, you understand. Can you imagine that text message thread? Hey sister-in-law, remember that PowerPoint you made about how crappy my sister was? I wanted to show it to my design class because it was so good. Can you email me the PPTX? KTHX. I flashed back to my old roommate. He was OCD in the actual diagnosed sense. Dishes had to be washed in the scrub clean, rinse, soap down, rinse cycle 6 times, or they and any dishes they touched were to be considered as dirty as if someone had crap on them. He knew that I refused to do that when I did dishes, and so he'd yell at me that he had to redo all the dishes just to be sure. So I offered instead to just have my singular bowl and my titanium spork, which would be kept in my room, and he and his girlfriend could use/do all the rest of the dishes. He agreed to this proposal. And so the dishes were just never cleaned, because he never had time to do them, and his girlfriend basically just refused to do any cleaning of any kind whatsoever, and literally took all the pills in my first aid kit within a week of moving in, and then complained about how dangerous I was making things by not spending another $200 to restock it. The sink eternally stank, and I got passive-aggressive grumbling about the lack of doing any cleaning, which ended when I adopted the policy of even the slightest of mention of that was given the full spiel about how he refuses to accept my level of cleaning, 1 cycle, maybe a second if the dish seemed truly apparently dirty, and that he agreed to take on the entire responsibility for the dishes. My ex had diagnosed OCD/anxiety, and while she didn't pull off PowerPoint presentations, she made lists and crap. And also certain things had to be done her way or she would go crazy and redo them. Sucks to deal with, and it sucks to be that person. The PowerPoint presentations tell me everything I need to know about that sister-in-law. This is the most insane so far. And your brother was okay with this? If my wife tried this crap with any of siblings, it would definitely be an issue. That was my mom when I was growing up. Constantly complaining that dad didn't help around the house. At some point I felt dad was really being a jerk about it, and I decided to help her as much as I could. I quickly learned that I washed glasses in the wrong way, didn't know where things went, couldn't get the right time to warm things up in the microwave, my vacuuming technique was sloppy, I couldn't fold laundry, and I even set the table wrong. I tried to learn all these things the way she wanted them, but no matter what I did, I was doing it wrong. I tried to change tasks and help in different ways. Maybe I could find something that I was good at? Or at least passable? Nope. One day I lost it and told her I was giving up. I'd rather listen to her complain that nobody helped around the house, than do all the work and listen to her complain that I did everything wrong. So she could go back to doing it all herself. After my outburst as I walked into the living room, my dad just raised his eyes from the newspaper he was reading, lowered his reading glasses and looked at me for a few seconds. "Now you know," is what he said telepathically. I started appreciating my dad a lot more after that. Bill here. My husband and his mom have had a strained relationship due to politics the last few years, but a little over a year ago I got a DUI. It was a supreme F up on my part, and I take full responsibility. I made stupid choices. Hence the throwaway. Anyway, my husband gets the call that I'm getting arrested, and he chose in the moment to call his mom to help, versus my mom. My mom is super chill and a good woman in a crisis and was arguably the more pragmatic choice, but I think he just needed his mom, understandably. So he calls his mom to come watch our kid while he figures out bail and picking me up and all that. I'll never forget coming home at like 4 a.m. feeling so embarrassed and overwhelmed, and she was there, arms wide open to accept and comfort me. This diminutive church-going southern mama grabbed me and held my atheist, F-up ass for what seemed like an eternity, but in a good way. Like all her natural mom energy was passing through me. We may not agree on most things, but I'll never forget how loved she made me feel at my lowest, without judgment or pretense. I hear horror stories about in-laws and I think how lucky I am. I was waiting for a bad turn in the story. Nope. Pleasantly surprised. Nice. My mother-in-law surprised me in a similar way. She's a hardcore Fox News watching conservative. My sister-in-law is married to a trans man, though he hadn't transitioned when they met or started their relationship. They never really officially started dating, just kind of went from friends to more than friends, and my sister-in-law hadn't come out, so there were some vaguely homophobic comments/jokes from both mother-in-law and father-in-law about their relationship at first, but they died down. I was really worried when we found out about brother-in-law's transition because I didn't know how mother-in-law would react, but she was surprisingly supportive. She made an effort to use the right pronouns and name, and while it was a bit shaky at first, I was the only one able to consistently remember correct pronouns and name the first couple times we all got together. It's gone much better than I'd feared. Have to admit, I have the sweetest daughter-in-law. When they bought their new house, it has 5 bedrooms, for 2 people. I said good, now you have a room just for me to visit for an extended time. She was happy and asked when I thought I would get there. My son had to explain to her that I was kidding and would not be making an extended visit to their house. I'd be the same way. I love my mother-in-law. She's really sweet and funny. It makes me happy to see other-in-law stories like this. My wife is the daughter my mom never had, and at our 3-year wedding anniversary, my mom gave her a trove of jade and gold jewelry that had been passed down from mother to daughter in my mother's family since well before they left China to come to the West. It was all my wife and I could do to hold it together and not start bawling. I would have lost it. My mother-in-law and father-in-law took me aside with my husband the night before my wedding to let me know they saw the next day as gaining a daughter. They told me to think of them as parents too from now on. They then gave me these gold cross earrings with little diamonds in them. They aren't my style, but I treasured those earrings. They were bought with so much love and such good intention. I could not hold it together in that moment with them, though. My husband's grandmother just passed away in December and I did not care for her. She became just awful to me after I had my daughter. However, his mom has made sure I still had some of the heirlooms that she kept from her mother and father. Many of these items are from the very early 1900s and from Sweden, where my husband's grandmother was from. My mother-in-law knows how much I cherish any heirlooms, especially the inexpensive, sentimental stuff, because I don't really have family of my own. I love my mother-in-law so much and it's great to have a good one. That is so sweet of her. A good mother-in-law can really make everyone's life so much better. My mom passed away about 6 months after I was married, so being close to her has meant a lot. I'm so sorry your husband's grandmother was like that. Family difficulties are not fun. That is so sweet. That is lovely. I think I would have lost it. I absolutely treasure a picture from our wedding when my mom and dad gave us hugs immediately after the ceremony. My mom is looking up into my wife's eyes with the biggest, most beautiful smile on her face, as if she absolutely couldn't be happier that she just gained her as a daughter. And hell, my wife has made more plans for my mother to eventually move into our in-law suite than I have, thinking about specific decorations, renovations, etc. Glad it is such a good relationship. This is so beautiful to hear. I've always thought I was weird because my Mill got along so well she called me the daughter she never had. I loved my mother-in-law. God rest her soul. We only lost her a few months ago to motor neuron disease. I'd give anything to have her back. Now I'm crying. I'm so sorry. We lost mother-in-law at the beginning of December and we are devastated. I wish I could give you a hug. So sorry for your loss. Losing someone you love is hard. Thanks for reminding me to call my sweet mother-in-law. I also love my mother-in-law, and my mom gets along great with her daughter-in-laws. It seriously makes life so wonderful. Sure, people are crazy, but some of the kindest and most liked people I've ever met have taught me that in order to get along with other people you have to be the one to lead the way and you have to not let so much stuff bother you. Trying to live this has definitely made my life much better. I'm happy you got a good mother-in-law. Makes life so much better. This was one of my prerequisites for a husband. I actually ended something with a guy because his mother and I didn't get along. When I was falling in love with my now husband, how much I really liked his family was a huge positive towards saying yes to marriage. I'm lucky also. My mother-in-law is really nice. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. Khalil Gibran. My mother-in-law is better than my wife's is. Just saying. Aw, that's actually really sweet. How common is it to have a 5-bedroom house in your country? I've been scrolling this thread for a while and I can't get over it. I live in somewhere in Central Europe, upper middle class to wealthy upbringing and social circle. 5 bedrooms is really extra, unless it's a farm or something. Is it common there? My mind is blown. What are the rooms used for? We have land like y'all have history laughing out loud, but if you're in or around a big city you ain't living in no 5-bedroom house. That's a great line, haha. In England, 100 miles is a long way. In America, 100 years is a long time. I live in South Carolina, USA. I have a 5-bedroom house with just my wife and myself. It is excessive indeed. I promised my wife and kid a large home and could never do it. I finally did, and 2 years later the kid goes to university. Good news is I stand to make some money when we decide to downsize. Pretty common here in the Midwest. They sold their cracker box size house in a very high-priced area and needed to spend a certain amount of the capital gains. When they moved to the Midwest, housing was so much cheaper that the houses in their price range were that big even in desirable areas. 2 are set up as bedrooms, 1 is a computer room, and 1 is a home gym type room. The 5th they don't have a use for. Yes, newer houses are big here. It's pretty common in Canadian suburbs. My house has 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms and is solid middle class, maybe a little over the average home price in my area. My wife uses 1 room as her office, I use 1 as a music room, then 2 are spares unless we have a roommate. You end up filling up the extra space pretty quickly. I live in the suburbs of a mid-sized American city and all the houses around me have 3 to 5 bedrooms. Most of the bigger houses have 1 or 2 bedrooms upstairs and 1 or 2 bedrooms in the basement/ground floor that you use as guest rooms or an office or something like that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.